Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we will be learning about the Haitian and American revolutions. Before we get started, first comes the model of revolutions. This model is named the Horizon Model because, as you can see, this model compares the revolutions to the way that we see our sun travel along the horizon. This model can be used to demonstrate the stages of any revolution. The first stage of any revolution occurs when majority of the population is unhappy. This can include things such as mistreatment of lower classes, heavy taxes, sharp criticism towards the existing system, and a desire of people to adopt another system. For example, in the Haitian Revolution, the blacks formed 95% of the population in Haiti, or Saint-Domingue as it was called in the 18th century. This consisted of both the slaves and the free mulattoes, who, as you may recall from an earlier lesson, were the people who were born from one white parent and one black parent. Anyway, this 95% of the population were given fewer rights than their minority white counterparts. The slaves in the French colony of Saint-Domingue were legally considered property, and since they lived in sugar plantations, their conditions were exceptionally brutal. Even the white people in the colony had something to complain about. In May of 1791, the National Assembly in France gave full French citizenship to all free men of color. This angered the white people, who considered the people of color under them, and in 1794, after a massive slave revolt, the French freed the slaves. This angered the rich plantation owners. So as you have just heard, every social group in Saint-Domingue had something to complain about. Now on to the next revolution. In the American Revolution, majority of the population were unhappy with the fact that England was heavily taxing the colonists. The colonists were heavily taxed on small things such as sugar, newspapers, and other items that were used daily. The thing that most angered the colonists was the fact that they were being taxed but had no right to say anything in government. These taxes also did not come back to benefit the colonists, but rather the British. The American colonists were also unhappy with the fact that the British were exploiting them through mercantilism. The English had instituted a series of laws which made sure that the colonies traded only with them and not with any of their European competitors. And after the French and Indian War of 1763, these mercantilist policies intensified, which led to intensified animosity between the English and their colonies. Some other things that made the colonists angry were the Proclamation of 1763 and the Quartering Act. The Proclamation of 1763 stated that the colonists were not allowed to expand past the Appalachian Mountains, and the Quartering Act required the colonies to support and house British troops. Both these acts were met with resentment in the colonies. The second stage of a revolution is the stage where the rebellion gains support. In the Haitian Revolution, the slave rebellion of 1790 showed the rising tension between the white colonists and the slaves. The rebellion, called Oj's Rebellion, after the man who led it, ultimately failed, but it was a sign for the next slave rebellion in 1791. In 1791, there was a major slave rebellion led by Toussaint Louverture. This rebellion was successful and resulted in killing of thousands of people from each side. This rebellion convinced the French to free the slaves. When he gained power in 1799, Napoleon reintroduced slavery in Haiti. The former slaves were not happy with this. They wanted to stay free, and so this inspired a revolution. In the American Revolution, there were many ways that the rebellion gained support. One thing that was considered the beginning of the American Revolution was the Boston Massacre. The Boston Massacre, which was a street fight that occurred on March 5, 1770, was caused by the taunting of British troops which had come to Boston by a group of protesters who called themselves patriots. The British soldiers killed 5 people and wounded a couple more. This event caused tensions to rise between the British and the colonists. The Boston Tea Party of 1773 was an event in which a revolutionary group named the Sons of Liberty dumped 342 crates of tea into the Boston harbor. The Boston Tea Party showed the British that the colonists will not stand for the kind of taxes that the British were enforcing on them. The Boston Tea Party was a large patriotic booster in which it encouraged the Americans to revolt. In 1774, a meeting called the First Continental Congress brought together delegates from 12 of the 13 colonies, Georgia excluded, in order to protest the intolerable acts. Colonial leaders stood united against these and other British acts and implored Parliament and King George III to repel them. The Congress also created an association to organize and supervise a boycott on all British goods. Although the delegates did not request home rule or desire independence, they believed that colonies should be given more power to legislate themselves. Then, in the year Then, a year later, the Second Continental Congress was called to meet after the first two battles of the Revolution. The Battle of Lexington and Concord were fought. The Congress decided to try one last time to restore peace relationships with the British by signing the Olive Branch Petition. In the meantime, they prepared for national defense by creating a navy and the Continental Army and installed George Washington of Virginia in command. At this point, many believed that the war was inevitable. Now we come to the third stage of the revolution. In this stage, many lives have been taken and wars have reached its climax. Major battles have been fought and turning points have happened. In the Haitian Revolution, a major war that was fought was the Battle of Créat-à-Période. This was a battle in which the French suffered major losses as they captured the Créat-à-Période fort from Haitian troops led by General Jean-Jacques Dessalines. This fort was significant because it controlled access to the Causse Mountains. The most important battle in the Haitian Revolution was the Battle of Vertières. In this battle, Haitians led by Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Alexandre Pétain ultimately defeated the French troops. In the American Revolution, a major battle was the Battle of Saratoga. In this battle, the British surrendered after they suffered a major loss. The American army defeated the British General John Bougainville's army as they attempted to separate New England from the southern states. This defeat on the British army by the American army convinced France to help the Americans by providing them money, resources, and troops. Another major battle of the American Revolution was the Battle of Yorktown. In the Battle of Yorktown, the Continental Army led by General George Washington defeated the British Army in Yorktown, Virginia. This was the last battle of the American Revolution, as the colonists finally gained freedom. The fourth stage of the revolution is a stage in which the revolution has been fought. The last battles have been won, and victory has been achieved. This is a stage where the short-term impacts start taking place. The first short-term impact of the Haitian Revolution was the selling of Louisiana by Napoleon to Thomas Jefferson. The Haitian Revolution had drained France's national coffers, so Napoleon was forced to sell Louisiana for $15 million. Another short-term impact of the Haitian Revolution was that Haiti became the first black republic in the world. It was a place where all slaves had been freed. A total of 23 constitutions have been created in Haiti's history. The constitution that directly followed the revolution was the Constitution of 1805. This constitution basically created a non-hereditary empire under Dessalines, gave freedom to practice religion, took away land from the whites, and declared all people of color, no matter how light their skin color, black, in an effort to end discrimination. The Revolutionary War ended with the Treaty of Paris, which basically demanded that the British treat America as an independent nation and drew the border between American land and British land in the Americas. In America, when the war finally came to an end, the Congress was having trouble paying debt, soldiers, etc. The war placed them in a bad position with money. Congress even resorted to selling bonds to other countries such as France. They began to print paper money called Continentals. Continentals became too common and costs sunk and inflation occurred. The paper money which then became worthless. The price of sugar and beef rose as much as 2 times the cost in some states in America. Also, after the Revolutionary War, the first attempt to forge a constitution led to the formation of Articles of Confederation. The constitution was a fail because it gave too much power to the states and not enough to the central government. Another short-term impact of the American Revolution was the fact that America no longer had to take orders from a monarch on the other side of the world. But now there was a new leader who would listen to their demands. The fifth and final step to any revolution is the long-term impacts of it. Since the revolution, over 200 years ago, Haiti has struggled with internal and external dilemmas. The Revolutionary War has destroyed nearly all of the country's colonial infrastructure and production capabilities. Also, slave-owning countries such as the United States refused to trade with Haiti in the 18th and 19th century. in the fear that their slaves may be inspired to follow Haiti's example. This made Haiti lose many of its former markets. Haiti is a country crippled by poverty ever since the Revolutionary War. Additionally, Haiti had been commonly misinterpreted for decades. American media, for example, have equated Haitians with savage voodoo ceremonies, HIV/AIDS, and boat people refugees beginning in the early 1900s. Once the most powerful and valuable colony in the world, Haiti is now a mere shadow of itself. On the other hand, since its revolution, America has become a great nation that is looked up by everyone. It has inspired many other revolutions. It's an inspiration for freedom and equality for all. Jean-Jacques Dessalines was the leader of the Haitian Revolution and the first ruler of the independent Haiti under the Constitution. Initially regarded as Governor General, Dessalines later named himself Emperor Jacques I of Haiti. He is regarded as the founding father of Haiti. Napoleon Bonaparte was the Emperor of France at this time. He dispatched a large force of French soldiers and warships to the island, led by Bonaparte's brother-in-law Charles Leclerc, to restore France's rule. Toussaint Louverture is known as the man who defeated the great Napoleon. He was a general of the Haitian Revolution and did many remarkable things as he defeated the French army multiple times. Now we come to the important individuals of the American Revolution. General George Washington was the man placed in charge of the Continental Army. He won many battles, including the last Battle of Yorktown, which gained the colonists their freedom. Thomas Paine is better known for his two pamphlets which inspired the American troops and the American people. He once wrote, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldiers and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of men and women." His words touched the people of America, which influenced them to revolt. Thomas Jefferson was one of the diplomats with Benjamin Franklin and John Jay securing aid from France. And he also wrote the Declaration of Independence. John Adams' contributions include helping write the Declaration of Independence, and he was one of the 56 men who signed it. He also gave a speech in the Second Continental Congress, which inspired the Americans to rebel. Also, after the Revolutionary War, John Adams helped write the peace treaty with England called the Treaty of Paris. King George III was a tyrant of Britain at the time of the Revolutionary War. The loyalists of the Revolutionary War loved him. He was their hero. While on the other hand, the patriots despised him. Benjamin Franklin spent most of the Revolutionary War in France as an official diplomat and ambassador of the 13 colonies. He came as a man of maturity, brilliance, ability, and as a word statesman. Upon his arrival in Paris, there was no other statesman or philosopher who would equal him in his ability and accomplishments. He had a large contribution in convincing France to aid the United States in the Revolution.